Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks to the very good folks at madaboutHorror.co.uk, I'm going to be reviewing this Neca Ultimate Pennywise figure from It Chapter 2. Make sure you check out madaboutHorror.co.uk for all your horror figure needs. Check them out. I love the artwork on this box. Quite simple, but certainly gets the point across. It's just classy and very well done. Very high quality packaging here, collector friendly, so if you wanted to display Mr. Pennywise in the box like so, you could do. Now, one thing that is jumping out at me straight away, the It Chapter 2 Pennywise figure here by Neca does seem to have a slightly better proportioned head to the body. I noticed on all the ones that I have from the first movie, I always felt his head was a tiny bit under scale, or maybe the hair was a bit too small or something. My eye was going to it, but on this one, as soon as I opened up the flap here, I was quite relieved to see the proportions on this guy seem to be perfected. Now, I could be wrong. I will do a comparison during this video to see if there is a difference in the head size between Part 1 and Chapter 2. So, we'll see. But very collector friendly, great packaging. You could definitely just display him in his box and it would look fantastic. But I'm going to bust him out and set him free. As usual, you do get a nice little kind of inlay card here for a backdrop, maybe for display, photography, whatever you want to do with it. It's a pretty cool image of the Loser Club, delving deeper into the depths of the sewers where Pennywise like to hang out. We got him out of the box, and very impressive. I mean, I remember the last few Pennywise figures I've got, but sure, you got one over there. Another one lurking back here, and then this one here. That's one of the ones which is going to be a good example of, I think, the head was smaller or the hair was smaller. This just looks much better proportion wise to me. I mean, everything about this looks like they've basically perfected it. So getting a look at everything that he comes with, you've got 4 head sculpts in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hands. Now, I was going to pose him up holding the balloon, but the tiny little hole here, and I remember this from a previous release as well, it's very difficult to get the string, or the wire in this case, but it's meant to be, you know, just a balloon on a string. It's very hard to get that through that little hole. I have been trying for the last 5 minutes, and it's very tricky. So I might continue to try that later, but for now, we'll just show you everything you get with the piece. Again, very happy with the proportions, the likeness. They've improved upon the last releases from the Chapter 1 movie. And I didn't think that was possible because I do have most of the ones from Chapter 1 that Neca released. Apart from the 18-inch, the big guy. I just would have preferred a more aggressive option for the head sculpt for the big figure. But you certainly get a lot of options with these small Ultimate 7-inch versions. This head sculpt here with the tongue sticking out, they really nailed that. We'll get a close-up look at all of these in a minute. Really like this very menacing, fang-ridden smile as well. So, very, very cool. Very much in a kind of clown place right now. I'm in the middle of doing a bunch of videos for Art the Clown from Terrifier. There he is there. Got some good stuff on the way for you if you're into him. But back to this particular clown, Mr. Pennywise. He's a beast. Alright, now let's get a look at this Bill Skarsgard head sculpt. You can definitely tell who it's meant to be. One eye is slightly off to the side, just as it should be, and the nasty kind of blood effects, which are creating the beginnings of the Pennywise kind of look. That is very creepy. It's a really creepy looking head sculpt, and the expression on his face, that's going to be good for photography. Now the hair is sculpted and painted very well. And in general, just the whole paint job on this head sculpt is quite impressive. Those very blue eyes. And his kind of buck teeth showing there. Let's go look at this head sculpt now. Now this one is very creepy looking. Look at that. Very impressive stuff. Just
Much happier with the sculpted hair on these heads from the Chapter 2 version. Just think it looks a lot better in proportion. Definitely there was something up with those Chapter 1 figures. The hair was just a little bit too small, I think, in most cases. But this one is perfect. And that is one evil expression, and the teeth look nasty. So I'm going to be displaying... And actually, to be honest, now that I've got these spare heads, I'm probably going to use some of these on my Chapter 1 versions just to sort out the proportion issue. So it's good that you get 4 heads with this figure. Let's check out Mr. Longtongue. This is obviously from the scene in the, what would you call it, like the Hall of Mirrors? Something like that, with all those, the kind of maze of mirrors. Very creepy place to get lost, especially if Pennywise is after you for a meal. But great paintwork here. Really good sculpt. Again, hair proportions are perfect. And that big long tongue looks very wet and shiny, which is totally gross. And look at that, if you tilt the head down, he's looking right at you. Yep. That is a great head sculpt. Fantastic. Side profile is on point, and the hair is just sculpted to perfection. So, very impressed with the head sculpts here. This could be my favorite one. I didn't think it would be, with the big long tongue sticking out, but when you tilt it down like this, that just looks incredibly accurate. Very, very, very impressed with that. And then of course there's the head that he's currently got on the body, which is just, that's pretty much just
kind of pretty neutral expression on this one. I'd definitely go for something a bit more extreme, but this would be good for Chapter 1. I could take one of my heads off and put this one on there instead. Maybe have him holding Georgie's arm. Let's check out the articulation on this guy, see if anything's been changed. Alright, now here is the Well House version by Neca from Chapter 1. Now the Well House release was my favourite from the Chapter 1 figures. Absolutely, the head sculpts were insane. I love that kind of werewolf hand, and the way I've got this one posed is just really creepy. And I do like this kind of messy hair look that you got with a lot of the head sculpts. I wasn't too satisfied with the way he went out in Chapter 2. I'd seen the mini-series, whatever you call it, the one, the classic with Tim Curry as Pennywise from many years ago. But I wasn't very satisfied with the way Pennywise went out in the most recent film. Basically all they had to do in the end was stand around him and just say, "You're not scary, you're just a stupid clown," and he went away. That was it. And this is what I'm talking about with the scale issue of the head and the hair with some of the Chapter 1 Pennywise figures from Neca. It just looks a bit too small, whereas here that looks a lot better proportion to me. The forehead, the hair just looks way more on point, whereas this one was always creepy looking. And I do love this blood effect they have on this particular version with the I Love Dairy balloons, but there definitely was a bit of a proportion issue with the hair and the head, but that has been perfected. And now that I have he fell over. Now that I have some spare heads from Chapter 2, I'll probably go ahead and switch that out now. So I've switched out the head to one of the Chapter 2 head sculpts with this version I just showed you, and that is totally gross. He's licking Georgie's arm, which is kind of disturbing, but that's just the way that worked out. And I've switched out the head here and got him in a kind of come in and get you pose. That just looks super creepy. And Mr. Wellhouse there, still in the same pose. I can't really bring myself to mess with that. I think it looks too good. So here we have Mr. Chapter 2. That is just menacing right there. And like I said, being able to swap the heads. I've got so many Pennywise heads now. There's more in a bag in the drawer here. Just a lot of options. And maybe one day I'll do a video where I show you all the possible variations that I can come up with, which would be quite a big video. But being able to swap out these heads, from Chapter 2 with your Chapter 1 versions is very, very cool. Because like I said, the proportions needed a bit of a tweak, and now they have been tweaked. And I'm very satisfied with the results. And here we have that Bill Skarsgard head sculpt. Well, that's what I'm going to call it anyway, because it's very obviously him. I'm sure there's probably a more technical name to call this particular version of the head here, but I think it looks really creepy in this kind of
pose that I got him in right now. So that will certainly look different on your shelf of Pennywise figures. I know some of you out there have some pretty epic Pennywise collections. And there are most of the head sculpts from Chapter 2 on different bodies. So the variation in looks that you can achieve just with this, this one release from It Chapter 2, as long as you got yourself a spare body from the Chapter 1 figures, you can come up with some really cool variations for him. I'm having a lot of fun here. And I love that box as well.
Looks great in the background. Alright folks, that's the end of the review. This is a fantastic piece. I give this a 10 out of 10. There's no reason not to. Fantastic packaging, collector-friendly packaging, so if you want to display him in the box, you can do so, but he looks good out of the box, folks, and he can do some mean poses. They give you so many head sculpts, and glad to see the improvements with the proportions in the head. Very, very glad to see that. Do check out madabouthorror.co.uk. They are absolutely fantastic, and if you're living in the UK or in Europe, anywhere around those parts, make sure you check them out. That's madabouthorror.co.uk. They will satisfy all of your horror figure needs and more. They don't just do figures, they do masks, all that good stuff, so check them out. Mad About Horror. Thank you, folks. Alright guys, drop a like on the video, make sure you subscribe, and check me out on Instagram and Facebook at DNight free, doing the channel full time. It's tough, but with your help I can get it done. $1 on Patreon every month should just about do it. I'll stick your name at the end of every video, just like the credits of a movie. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon. Take it easy. Bye-bye.